So becoming an organ donor after death is not only an important decision for yourself, but it's also an important decision for the life you may have the power to save. Almost everyone will want to be able to say, I've saved a life. But by becoming an organ donor, you can be able to say, I will save a life. Organ donation is a selfless way to give back to others and to be able to make a huge difference by giving another person a second chance at life. Unfortunately, the number of patients waiting for organs far exceeds the number of people who have registered to become organ donors. Patients are forced to wait months, even years for a match, and far too many die before they're provided suitable organs. There are many stigmas related to organ donation, but most of them are relatively false. And in order to be well informed, you must know what organ donation is, how it works, as well as how you can become an organ donor, and what organs or tissues you can donate. Becoming an organ donor after death is not only an important decision for yourself, but is also an important decision for the life you may have the power to save. So what is an organ donation and how does it work? Organ donation takes healthy organs and tissues from one person for transplantation into another. Organs you can donate include kidneys, liver, heart, pancreas, intestines, lungs, skin, bone marrow, and cornea. Organ donations usually occur for patients with kidney failure, heart disease, lung disease, and cirrhosis of the liver. For patients who need a kidney or liver, a living donor's organs can be utilized. Since we are already born with an extra kidney and the liver is regenerative, however, if the patient needs a heart, lung, pancreas, or cornea, the organ needs to come from a deceased donor. A transplant is usually the last course of action in the treatment of a patient, but if the patient is willing and able, it can be a good option. If the patient consents to an organ transplant, doctors put the patient's name on a list by the United Network of Organ Sharing, or UNOS. UNOS has a database with all transplant patients awaiting organs and information on all organ transplant centers around the country. And the board of directors, which is made up of transplant doctors, establishes policies that will decide which will get which organs. Acceptable donors are those who are brain dead but are still on life support. They are technically dead, but the body is still functioning, so the organs remain healthy. A match is made when both the donor and the recipient have the same blood and tissue type. And other medical factors are considered depending on the specific needs for each case. Also, how long a patient has been waiting for an organ is a big factor when choosing who will get which organ. Secondly, arguments against organ donation and refutations. People of all ages and backgrounds can be organ donors, and if you're under 18, you must get permission from your parent before registering as an organ donor. Some may say, some refutations go as far as, if I agree to donate my organs, the hospital won't work as hard to save my life. This is false. When you go to hospitals for treatment, doctors focus on saving your life, not someone else's, and the doctor in charge of your care has nothing to do with the transplantation. Another one is, organ donation is against my religion. This is also incorrect. Organ donation is consistent with beliefs of most religions, including Catholicism, Protestantism, Islam, and most branches of Judaism. An open-casket funeral is an option for organ donors. The donor's body is fully closed, so no one can see the markings or scars of the surgery. For bone donors, a rod is inserted where the bone was removed, and for skin donors, the skin donation is taken from a person's back, and since the deceased is closed and on their back in the casket, the scar is not visible. I'm too old to donate. People think there's an age limit. There's no defined cutoff age for donation owners, and there have been many successful organ donations from donors in their 70s and 80s. The decision to use the organs is based on medical criteria and not necessarily age. Maybe I won't really be dead when they sign the death certificate. People who are organ donors are actually given more tests to determine that the patient is truly dead than they would give to those who are not organ donors. Thirdly, last point, how to become an organ donor and the benefits of organ donation. Register with your state donor registry by going to organdonor.gov and registering online according to what state you reside in. All you have to do is enter some basic information such as your name, address, height, gender, and race, and also what specific organs you're willing to donate after you're dead. Designate your decision on your driver's license as well when you renew it. Sign a donor card and carry the card with you until you designate your decision on your driver's license. Talk to your family about your donation and help them understand your wish and make sure it's what you want to do. Some benefits that come along with organ donation is the satisfaction of being able to save lives even when you are already gone. And some families feel that knowing their loved one has helped save a life turns them into coping with their loss. In conclusion, before doing research for this speech, I had never really considered or even thought about potential of becoming an organ donor. However, now that I'm more informed on this subject, it seems like a no-brainer just to register to donate my organs. If you really think about it, are you going to be using your organs in your grave when you die? The answer is obviously no. So why not help and save someone else by giving him or her something that you are no longer in need of. So many patients who are in need of a new organ just want a second chance at life, and it's so easy to develop them. Please help change these numbers by registering to become organ donors, and together we can all be satisfied knowing that we will, in the future, save someone's life. Thank you.
Tyler, what did you think?
Altogether, I thought the speech was put together really well. In the introduction, I really liked the introduction. He started off statistics, gave us some base facts to feel his ethos with. I didn't like how much he was reading off the paper. It really took away from us a lot because he had a lot of good information. He put together the speech, I thought, very well. I thought everything led to each other very well, previews very well. I really liked the speech, but it really distracted him. It really took away from the seriousness of the subject when you get reading from the paper instead of talking to us, per se. He wrapped it up really well in his conclusion. He gave us a really broad view, a very specific view of how to look at it. I didn't like how he said after researching the speech, because to me that now sounded like it was an assignment he was forced to do instead of something he wanted to talk to us about. And so I felt that kind of took away from the seriousness as well. But other than that, I thought he wrapped up his ideas very well and presented them to us very well as well.
All right. Yeah, I think the start of the speech is pretty clear. You've got a good identification of the topic. I'm not sure that this is really controversial. This is more motivational. You suggest that there's some controversy because you talk about reasons people might hesitate to donate. And you actually, although it didn't sound like it was in the preview, you actually had a supporting point that addressed those particular issues, and it tries to respond to those points. And I thought that helped a little bit. The thing that Tyler was talking about there at the end, when you mentioned, having researched this sort of thing, that to me seemed like it would be something that would be more appropriate at the beginning to help build the idea that there's a controversy on this. I thought, I didn't think that this was a big deal. I never worried about it. It didn't concern me at all. So it was not one of those things but it turns out, you know what? It is damn important, and I need to get off of my own indecision on this, my own antipathy toward this issue, and take an action. And I'm afraid that's what a lot of people are doing. And that's where I think you could maybe talk about some of the problems that people who need donations face. They have long waiting times. Matches are not always perfect. Lots of people die while they're waiting for these kinds of things, and that's the stuff that I think is missing a little bit from the speech. You mentioned the one organization and their procedures for making decisions there, and I assume that a lot of your information came from that source, but there's not really a consistent citation of other information. I think that you've got an opportunity here to build some pretty strong emotional connections also when you talk about the family of somebody who was a donator, maybe feeling better about that sacrifice. This has got to be a place where there are stories, where people have gotten letters from somebody who's received a heart, or who got a lung, or whose child was saved because of a donation. And those stories would kick our butts. We'd be sitting here with a tear coming out of our eye and going, what kind of lazy bum am I who's so indifferent to other people's potential, happiness? And that's the kind of stuff that I think you ought to be getting a little bit more of into the speech. All right, that's good enough. Thank you.